Dude, Thursday, big day for headlines. First of all, obviously out of California, this high stakes poker between the state appeals court and Uber and Lyft, basically cutting all transportation in the country as there's, yet another series of unfortunate crises going on in California, as there are throughout the country. Before we do that, though, my Metsies have canceled their baseball game.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
Doesn't look good.
I saw that. They canceled the game, which is interesting because the Yankees just got swept by the Tampa Bay Rays.
I was going to take my broom out, and just show you some of that action.
I beat you to the punch.
Thank you.
And they're supposed to play the Metsies at Shea this weekend, and you wonder if that's now in jeopardy. I don't know. And Gleyber Torres apparently was the latest Yankee to go down. So just a lot of craziness in Yankee land. But you mentioned this high stakes game.
Hold on a second. I would be remiss not to point out that it's not Gleyber Day yet, and yet he's gone down.
It's a good point by you.
Thank you.
Actually, hasn't been Gleyber's year. I mean, he's off to a tough start.
Is that his
not
given
unlike
name?
The start that the Chipmunk is having?
No, dude,
stop.
Is Gleyber his given name? I know you don't have his birth certificate in front of you, but I mean, that's extraordinary in a world of extraordinary names.
Gleyber's a great name. It's the first Gleyber that. But yeah, so let's get off the Yankees for a second. You can ridicule me later. We used to play chicken when I was a kid when we played golf because golf.
What'd you play it with? How'd you play it?
With the carts. So you'd be on either side of the
we used to play chicken. We used to play chicken with switchblades. I mean, throwing people.
I mean, please.
Main streets of Scarsdale.
Don't embarrass yourself with switchblades.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
they weren't switchblades, but they were jackknives. They were jackknives.
They were pen knives. It's like that scene. There was an All in the Family where everybody remembers something differently, and Archie remembers somebody pulling out a switchblade the size of. But
you're talking about golf carts. At least we're throwing pocket knives at each other. That's kind of badass.
I think the most badass thing you did in the mean streets of Scarsdale was a jarts game on a Sunday with some of your boys. Remember jarts?
Yeah.
Now I've lost my train. Oh, chicken. So we would, you'd be in a cart, one guy on one side, I'd be on the other, and you'd drive. Basically, you try to do a head-on collision, and the first guy to flinch loses. And I will tell you, I never flinched.
So where did you? First of all, that's like something straight out of
I've been kicked off at least 3 golf courses in Westchester. No nonsense.
That's James Dean. That's like Rebel Without a Cause stuff.
Because golf is a nonsense. I mean, I'm going to offend people with golf. But anyway, so
for golf.
This high stakes game of chicken, Lyft and Uber play it, and you know what? They got a stay of execution at least until the election. And I don't know. Listen, who knows what's going to happen? But I think you can buy both of them here, specifically Lyft.
So you're cutting right to the trade, and your golf cart metaphor, as lame as it sounds of the game that you guys were partaking in, it is exactly what went on in California. Down to there were headlines about basically stopping service, Uber to stop service, and a minute before the headlines came out that the appeals court has actually pushed this out to October 13th. So to the extent that the core issue here is state labor laws in California are onerous enough, or there is a desire by the state and the labor authority to get the gig economy inside of state labor laws. I'm not sure how you do that. And look, it's easy to rail on California. It's such a wonderful place, and it's such a horrible place at the same time in terms of the bureaucracy. And I say that, and I live in New York. It's not a lot better. But when I think about if you polled most Uber drivers, they'll tell you not only are they driving for Lyft, but they're probably driving for 2 other people.
Sure.
So it's I don't think they want to be employees. And I realize that there are always some people who wouldn't want benefits and who wouldn't want some of the security that comes with being an employee. But to be clear, this is I do think they have to come up with a new standard.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I mentioned, and look, I don't know if they can do this, and I'm sure it's been thought of, but is there some hybrid model they can go to where you can opt in or opt out depending on what you want to be deemed as employee, non-employee? I don't know if that works, but if they were to have to use these people as employee or make them employees, each of these companies has to hire 50,000 people
Yep.
which is it's a huge existential risk to the business. I mean, in California would be the start, and you wonder if the rest of the states line up. So I don't know. My sense is, they'll jawbone this for a while, but I think cooler heads will prevail, and they'll figure something out. And in the meantime, I think the stocks can go higher.
Meanwhile, the great irony is I actually think that the costs of transportation in urban centers has gone up, not down. And there are, I may be speaking a New York model. I can tell you there's, and let's just act like COVID never happened and talk about the world that existed for rideshare and taxis. Taxis have become, largely extinct. The cost of rideshare and taxis have gone up because the cities everywhere are putting all kinds of congestion taxes, which means taxis cost more than they ever have. And then Uber and Lyft have driven up prices because they can. So this is one of those cases where technology, which is a deflationary component to what it has done. It also, by the way, this story is front and center, a secular trend for employment. I mean, California's got 3 million people unemployed. I don't know how many people are driving. But one of the issues that technology has done is it's made a lot of people's jobs superfluous. And this is, that's good nor bad. It's the reality. We love Amazon, but we hate certain other things about it. And that's just something for everybody to think about.
Speaking of making jobs superfluous, I mean, this Edwin Diaz guy, I mean, at what point as a Met fan, which I am not, I say it 1,000 times, I loathe the Mets, but I feel your pain. I mean, this guy, he just brings, he might as well literally bring out a gallon of gasoline and a lighter, because that's basically what he does every single time he steps onto the mound. Last night is another, listen, you got bailed out by Michael Conforto last night, who dialed 9 late. Good for him.
You presume that our audience, by the way, very, very
I don't presume anything. You're my audience right now.
A very cocky statement and a very bold statement for a guy whose team got swept by the Rays. Your chief rival in the AL East. So in other words, you didn't rise to the occasion against the team.
They did not.
You have to be. You tell me what. So I mean, I think that's a better conversation to go out on. Not that Edwin Diaz, who has electric stuff, yeah, he walked the first guy, but then he struck out the next 3. I mean, he struck out the 4 guys he faced when he came in. No one can hit his ball. If he could just get it over the plate, we'd have a pretty good bullpen. Take care.
Well, we're leaving? That's it?
Well,
okay.
I don't know.
Well,
do we have time?
Well, then we'll talk again. I like that you ended on a high note.
But I do think we have to throw something down on the weekend series that unfortunately we may not have. But what are we betting, Guy?
I don't think it's, first of all, as it stands now, I don't think we're playing baseball at Shea this weekend. But I'll think of something, you think of something, and we'll reconnoiter tomorrow.
You know what I want? I want the folks on Twitter to actually give us ideas for what we're betting for. Folks,
my man.
To you.
See you later.